all of you, and I think some of you have attended the first session, some of you may not have, and some of you may have used Google Classroom by yourself to try different things. So, from what I understand from the poll, it is a mix of all of those. So, what I will do today is I will quickly go through, I will not go through all the details like we did last time, but let us just go through how to create a class. And today, the focus is on going on creating assignments. So we are going to be looking at how to create assignments in Google Classroom. But of course, in order to do that, we have to create a class. So before I go there, I have one question. Maybe you may also have it in your mind. Now that vaccinations are going on, and hopefully the next year, 2021-2022 academic year, will be a place where we are actually meeting in person without this situation. Do you still feel that Google Classroom can be relevant? Or when I say Google Classroom, I mean the class of online or virtual tools. Do you think it is still relevant, or what do you think about it? I just want to know your views. If you can put it in the chat or unmute and talk, either ways is fine. I want it to be a little interactive, so you can all just put in whatever your thoughts are. So my question is, now that things seem to be getting back to normal, it is relevant as blended learning has settled? Yes, okay. 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 Yeah, future is only online. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Very frankly, as a teacher and as a storyteller, I don't find anything which comes close to actually being with the children. It is something that's amazing. The kind of energy that gives you, energy that gives you to go on is stupendous. I am sure many of you as teachers would agree. But that said, it was not at all that the last year, how all the teachers rose up and put in their thoughts and learned new tools and tried so many different things to make sure that the children get their knowledge in the way they should. So before I start, I would definitely like to say a big applause to all the teachers for the way they rose to the occasion. And in addition to all the frontline workers and corona warriors, the teachers are also, yes, by now children and teachers have sort of got used to it. I surely agree, ma'am. But I am sure the moment you go and see them, then the spark in their eyes, it will definitely be, some other experience. Yeah, so definitely, as some of you said, I agree, completely agree that even if, and provided that we go back to a mode of class as a classroom class, this is one tool which is not going to lose the relevance. In fact, if you're able to leverage it in the right way, yes, definitely. I miss them a lot. So this is a tool that we can definitely leverage, whether you are in an online class or an offline class. I can definitely say this because we use Google Classroom as a tool in an offline class, where before the COVID time, effectively in the space of informal learning. So why it will help is that it is basically, unlike, let us say, many of these online tools, it is still asynchronous, right? So it's not like, oh, you have to be in the class, you have to be doing this, right? Yes, I agree. Primary children want to share, and the online medium, somewhere it restricts, and the children who don't talk, they just tend to, go down, which is really sad. And the children who are, generally talkative and more confident, they tend to come up and talk. Yes. So one of the main things you can use Google Classroom at any time, whether it is on an online mode or an offline mode, is for the assignments. So the best thing about that is it sort of exactly replicates what you normally do. So what do you do when you give an assignment? You give out an assignment and receive it back, right? Now, that is exactly what you can do with Google Classroom with a lot of additional facilities. For example, facilities to grade, facilities to give rubrics, facilities to assign due dates so that they can turn it back in. And there is a lot of different options to do it. Right now, children with any kind of device will be able to use this to turn in the assignments. And a lot of developed countries, even in the offline classes, many times the teachers prefer to have their assignments online through any kind of LMS. At the basic level, Google Classroom provides most features of a regular LMS that a school would require. So, because one main thing is the record keeping, right? All your children's assignment, all that they have done is already there in your repository. You don't have to go through the process of collecting the books, right? And you don't have to go through the process of safekeeping. It's there. So it's so easy to give out and get assignments. That is the first part. And the second part is that there is a huge scope for creativity. That you can do so many different things with an online assignment. Whereas in an offline assignment, it is limited to what they can write, probably what they can do. Right? So here you can give them all kinds of different creative exercises which they can do online and then put in the results. So you can even, like for example, you have a lot of other tools like Kahoot and all that. So you can give links for that also within Google Classroom. So it's basically a repository which allows you to give any kind of assignment, including the normal writing assignment. You give a question, you ask an answer. Right? That is what we usually do. You can give a lot of picture-based assignments. And so easy to replicate, right? So especially, let's say I want, right now I'm reaching out to 50 students. Now I want to reach out to 150 students. So the same workbook in a normal class, let's say I'm giving out a workbook for an assignment. I will have to replicate it. Here, all I need to do, it is a digital copy. I just need to assign it. So that way, assignment, assessment is something that becomes very, very easy with Google Classroom. And I surely hope that whatever it is, whatever kind of LMS you have, so that is one thing I would like to tell you. So here we are talking about Google Classroom, but remember, whatever be the LMS your school has, whatever it is that you're using, whatever learning management system you're using, will have at the minimum these features. At the minimum. It may have more, but the chance that it will have less is definitely not there. All you need to do is a little bit of demo, try out here, there, what to do, give it out. So a little bit of trial and error, you will definitely be on top of it. So as I said, we are going to be looking at today assignments, how to give out assignments through Google Classroom. Any questions so far?
I don't think, ma'am, that they have shared their right now. If there are any question, I will share in the next.
Sure. Okay. So 1 minute, let me just share my screen. So as I said, I will quickly, can you all see my screen, my Google Chrome browser?
Yes, ma'am. Teachers, if you are able to see ma'am screen.
Yeah, great. Okay, so let me just close this. Okay, so quickly let us go through how to access Google Classroom. So if you go to your Google Apps, this Google Classroom is right here. Sometimes, usually it will be somewhere here, right on the bottom. All you need to do is pull it and bring it to the top if you're going to be using it regularly. So this is as simple as that. If you are accessing it through the phone, you will need to download the Google Classroom app, which is available in the Play Store. The another great thing about Google Classroom is that it is as easy to use on the phone as it is on a laptop or a tab. So that is something that I have found to be amazing, especially with because a lot of children access their assignments through the phone still. And even sometimes, let's say you're using it for a classroom reference, it becomes much easier to use it on the phone. Now, these are the classes where either I am a student or I am a teacher, right? So this is the classroom that I created last time. That is the introduction to Google Classroom. Now, how do you create a new class? It's as simple as this. If you go to your Google Classroom setup, you will see a plus sign, right? So if you click on the plus sign, there is an option to create or join a class, right? So just for the test purpose, I am going to create a new class. So I'm going to put the name as using So if you want, you can add a subject and all that. That's all optional. So I'm just going to create the assignment class. Here is your class. You communicate with your, using assignments in Google Classroom. 1 minute, let me just move this. Okay, so here there are four tabs that you see here: stream, classwork, people, and grades. Now, if you want someone to join the class, you need to go here and you can add your students. That is one way to do it. Otherwise, if you go to your main page, there is a code here, right? You can either copy the invite link, okay? And then I'm just going to paste it into the chat here so that you can join the class. Or you can send the code via email, you can send the code via WhatsApp or whatever it is. So it is as simple as that. Now you have created a class and you have sent the link to your students to ask them to join the class. You can add co-teachers, which is a good thing because many times that you may not be the only teacher. You may have multiple sections, and you may work. You may have a co-teacher with who is working with you. So you can add co-teachers who will take care of the assignments, who will take care of checking if there is a due date and all that, right? So that is something that you can add here if you want. If the class is yours, that is, you have created the class, right? So there are certain things that a teacher can do. There are certain things that a class administrator can do. But a teacher, if once you add someone as a teacher, they will be able to add any kind of classwork. So a Google Classroom is as simple as this. To go back to the steps, just download the app or go to your Google account. If you do not have a Google account, create a Google account. All you need to do to have a Google Classroom is a Google account, nothing else, right? So then you go to the option, go and click on the app, the Google Classroom app, and then come to this, click on the link to create a class or add anyone to your class, right? So now let us create some different kinds of assignments and see what are the different options we have available with using an assignment. Now, before we do that, let me just stop sharing a minute. What I want you to do is, 1 minute, I'll take up questions later. You can put in the questions in the chat, but after this is done, I'll just take it up. Okay. Yeah, where was it? Yeah. So I have a question to ask you now. What do you think are the kinds of assignments you want to give to your students? Right? my question here is, don't limit yourself to, oh, what can I do? But instead think, what do you want to do? And we will see whether it can be done on Google Classroom or not. Fair enough. It's not that I'm not saying that any kind of assignment is possible in Google Classroom, but I thought instead of me showing you some examples, I would like to hear from you what is the kind of assignment or assessment that you are giving out to your students. Pen and paper, okay? PDF or audio link for practice, Google form. Okay, anything else? When you say pen and paper, okay, pen and paper is fine. So what kind of content would you like to get in your project? Okay, let us see if we can do each of it. That will be interesting. Yes. Okay. What kind of information do you require in a pen and paper assignment? MCQ, you may have MCQ, yeah. Objective, subjective. Okay, as we are waiting for the others to come in, let us just look through each of them. So I am looking at pen and paper. So in a pen and paper, you may have some questions and answers. You may have fill in the blanks, you may have match the following, or you may have any such thing. Now, the simplest way to do it would be, and let us say you still want your students to write it down rather than put it online. Even then, what you can do is you can ask them, in that case, you will have to ask them to upload as images. But that said, if it is just question and answers or fill in the blanks, all you can do is you need to attach a Google Doc where you give in the questions and you ask the students to put in the answers. Okay, so let us take each of them. So that's what I'm going to do today. So let us go to the okay, let's say I'm going to create a assignment. So this is what I want to create. Okay, now what I want to create a question, pen and paper question kind of approach. For example, let us say this is an English assignment on nouns. Nouns, you have your heading and all that. Then you have your question 1. What are nouns? Give some examples, whatever. So basically, this is just a question paper. You may give a fill in the blanks, dash, fill in with a proper noun, fill in with a common noun, S, something like that. This is what you're going to give. Now, all you want to do is you want your children to fill this in and give it back to you so that you are going to do a subjective assessment of that. With younger children, it is, I'm sure all of you will agree that subjective assessments are as important as objective assessments. We can't just give up on subjective assessments because there is something that it's easier to do it's more difficult to assess in the online format. So it is as simple as that. So now I'm going to say, okay, nouns. So that is the name of the document. Now I go back to my Google Classroom page and you can see there is a document which is created called, which is still, the name will get updated. It is not yet updated. 1 minute. That is when I close it. Okay. Okay. So now you have multiple options to do this. How you're going to assign. Let us say now I want to assign it to a single classroom, I can assign it to multiple classrooms. The only difference between that, only thing you have to keep in mind is when you assign it to multiple classrooms, you won't have the option to select specific students. Whereas if you're creating it is by default assigned to the classroom for which you're creating the assignments. Right? So if you are creating the assignment for this classroom, it is assigned by default to this classroom. If you want to add at the same time, you can assign it to multiple classrooms, but you cannot choose the students. So why will you need to choose the students? Sometimes you may be giving different assignments based on their capacity or their ability or based on their past performance. So you may be giving slightly different graded assignments. All that becomes so easy here. Whereas in a class, it become in an offline class, it's just the logistics management becomes so difficult. So here, all I need to do is I can select the students. I can select, let us say, I can select only 2 students, 1 student to assign this, give this assignment, and the rest of them I can give some other assignment. If that is what, or let's say it's a late assignment and you want to give them some special instructions or anything like that. So you can assign it to multiple classes, you can assign it to 1 or multiple students. You can set a grade or you can make it ungraded. Right? So due date, of course, you can set. Due date is not an enforcing here. They can return it even after the due date, but it is a more of a guideline kind of thing, and there will be you will be able to know if they have returned it prior to the due date or after the due date. Topic. So in this case, I have not created any topic. So let us say the first topic I'm going to create is using Google Docs for assignment. That's the topic. So this assignment goes to under that topic, right? Now, the rubric is not available because I have not, I'm just going to put a name here. Yeah, now it's available. So now what is the rubric? Now rubric is nothing but a kind of guideline for the student as to how it is going to be marked. So this gives so much transparency, right? So if let us say, for example, in this, if there are no spelling errors, right? You're going to give 4 points. If there are 2 spelling errors, you're going to give 2 points, something like that, whatever it is. And this is something that is visible to you, that is visible to your students, that will be visible to your co-teachers as well. So this becomes very clear as to what you have to do, what everyone has to do. So you can add a rubric or a criteria. For now, I'm not going to add a rubric here. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now I have created my assignment. Now now here there is an important option. Student can view the file, student can edit the file and make a copy for each student. When I say student can view the file, the student can just view the file in a view only mode. That means there is just one file which is created. Now, why will you do that? If you want to give some information for the student to do something. For example, one of the assignment options that was mentioned in the chat was project, right? You want the students to do a project, right? Now, you have to give a set of instructions for them on what they need to do. So this is the thing, these are the reference links, you look here, you look this, you create a sheet or whatever it is. So that is the situation where you will create a view file. If you say student can edit the file, then each student will get a separate copy of this file. So it will not be that everyone will edit the same document. Each student will get a separate copy of the file. I'm sorry, if student can edit the file, all the students can edit the file. This is something that you will do for a group assignment. Let us say you are creating a project group of 5 to 6 people and you want them to collaborate on that on this particular assignment. So that is one of the reasons why you will be assigning to a specific set of students also. When you say make a copy for each student, then there is a copy made of that assignment for each and every student. Okay. Now, what were the other? Let me see if I can access the chat here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if you want to create a new classroom, if I go to the create option, it shows something else. Okay, you see, you can create a new classroom, but yeah, if I don't know what other option, I'm trying to access it through the phone or through the laptop. Can you say that? Meanwhile, let me also go through the other set of things. Okay, so that is something that you can do for subjective assignments. So links for tests and MCQs, we will take it up as Google Forms, right? So we will look at how to add Google Forms. Video assignments, you can ask, you can have the students, as I said, you can give a set of conditions, what to do, and have them pick up, create a video and attach it to the Google, to their assignments. True, false, you can do through forms. Weather forecast, that's a very interesting assignment. So whatever it is, so basically the three types you're looking at is subjective, objective, and different files, right? So I just want to show you some interesting kind of assignments that you could do and attach. For example, I'm going to add a document from my Google Drive. Okay. Okay, so this is, if I can show you, so this is something that I had created for the students. So this is just a Google slide where I am going to ask them to classify the different sources of energy. So this is basically created with a Google slide, and then I'm just going to assign it to the student. They are going to, what they can do is they can pull the particular item to whichever option they want to pull it to, and then they can submit the file. So this, with Google Slides, you can create a lot of very creative assignments, which will be more like a game. You can have jigsaw puzzles. You can have them put it together. You can have like pull it into the box, or match kind of thing. Color things differently, like color all the. For example, let's say it's a math or something like that. You're giving some kind of puzzles for them to do with. So you can ask them to color certain things in different way. You can ask them, you can make it gamified in a big way. So now this is something that you can do with Google, something like Google Slides. You can definitely easily do that, right? So it is not necessary that a subjective assignment needs to be only question and answers. In this case, I am using Google Slides to create a game like assignments, right? So this is something that you are doing. Plus, of course, you can, to this something, you can add additional slides. Okay, I've set the background. So you can you can add additional slides, and you can ask them to put in additional information. So why did they choose this? Why did they move it here? Can they put in the information and add your different information, like true or false or whatever kind of questions, you can add it here. So the advantage of using subjective assignments, especially with younger kids, is that it, first of all, it gives them more scope for thinking, and it sort of helps them. And subjective assignments need not be just pen and paper here. You can just use your creative thoughts to create it in any way possible. Okay, so that is about, I hope you were able to see my Google slide screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay, so That was about Google Slides and Google Doc for subjective questions. Now, let me go back there and let us see how we can add a Google form to it, right? So again, as you see, there are two options here. One is create, and one is add, one is create, right? So here, when you go to create, there's an option to create Google Forms. So there's no difference as such in these two, except that when you say create, it creates a new document which you're going to, and this document will be in the Google Classroom created folder. So generally, I prefer to add first and then link to it here, because then what happens is I know where my files are very clearly. I can organize a file structure in my Google Drive. Right? In my Google Drive, I can have a lesson one, lesson two, lesson three. I can organize a file structure and then I can just add it from there to here. Right? On the other hand, if I create directly from Google Classroom, what happens is a file gets created every time. For every class, there is a default folder structure in Google Drive. For every Google Classroom, there is a folder structure. That is the top level folder and inner level folders, right? Now, this gets there. This, whatever you're going to create, goes there, right? Now, I may not want that to happen, because then, let us say I want to reuse it, it's not easily available for me, right? If I want to reuse it, edit it, maintain it, change it, right? All those things are much easier if I already have a folder structure and I am in control of where my location is. If you're using a Google, if you're using syncing to sync your drive to your files on your desktop, then even then it becomes much easier. But there's nothing wrong as such. There is no other disadvantage as such in creating a file for the assignment. Okay, so Google Form has come a long way from where it started initially. I think many of you are already using Google Forms in some way or the other. There are so many functionalities which make it very interesting to use, right? So even in Google Forms, you can have subjective, objective questions, and you can have file uploads. So let us see how each of them will work as far as Google Classroom is concerned. So I'm just going to create. As you can see, I don't, should I go into the different options in Google Form? Is it covered elsewhere, Anuj?
Yes, ma'am, we have covered the classes on Google Forms, so you can just quickly create a form and then go.
Okay, fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a paragraph question. Land forms in India, something like that. So I'm going to make a long answer question, then I'm going to make a multiple choice question, something. Okay, this, then I'm going to add a question, explain something. Okay, then so this I'm going to say file upload. Why file upload is when you want your students to upload something, like for example, you want them to upload a video, or you want them to upload pictures. You write something, take pictures of your assignment and upload it. So that is something that you can do with Google Forms. Okay, so here, So what are the different file types that you will allow? Let us say for now, I want them to upload only a video. So I'm going to say video. That's enough. So what I will do is, give me a minute. So for now, I'm just going to put in my own email ID. Okay. You don't have to send, I'm just doing that. So now that you come back to your Google Classroom, you have a form which you have added to your assignment. So if now this, what can we do this? If you see here, they don't have the option to, you don't have the option to make a copy, because by default every student gets a separate copy of the form, so there is no sense of collaborative working. Whereas for the others, it is, you may sometimes want the all your students to put in, or groups of students to put in the information in the same file, like if they are doing some joint project. So some of them will be getting the pictures, some of them, each of them may be working on a specific set, or let's say you've asked them to make a slideshow presentation where each student is going to get a couple of slides. So then you can use this option of, for example, students can edit file. Then they can edit each particular file. I mean, all the students can edit the same file. So this, what I'm going to do is, I'm sorry. So I am going to assign to all the students. So who are there currently? Yeah. Okay, so I would like to take a pause here and ask if any questions. Any
Sure, ma'am.
questions on this so far?
Yes, ma'am. Let me see if the teacher has asked questions. So, one of the teachers has asked that regarding the, I think, assignment thing, that can we do it while teaching?
Can you elaborate on that, please? What do you mean?
Yeah, ma'am. Teacher who has asked this question, can you bit elaborate? Like, what do you mean by, ma'am? I think it is, she is mainly asking for while creating the assignment. Can she create an assignment while teaching? Well,
In the sense that in the classroom, is it?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you. I'm sorry, I did not get. So, what kind of information do you want to add in it? Do you mean you want to add like a classroom video?
So, let me ask ma'am if she can clear more about it.
Okay, I think is it okay? Do you mean during Google Meet as I'm taking the
Yeah.
classroom? Can I? Okay, okay. So now this Google form is, as you saw, no, it depends on who are the students you've assigned to the form, right? You can share, for like I did, you can share the link for the students to join the class in Google Meet, when you're in Google Meet, and you can have them join the class. Once they join the class, then they will have access to all the classwork and the assignments that are created.
Okay, ma'am. Nice.
Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. P. Rosa ma'am has asked that how to add file in the Google form.
Okay.
Inserted the file
Okay.
in the Google form, na?
Yeah. I'll just show that. Okay. Yeah. So in a classroom spot test. Okay. So I'll just answer this question and go back to that. So basically, yeah, if you want to do a spot test, you already should have created the test. You should already have created the test in Google Classroom. And then once you are once at the time when you have to ask them to take the test, at that time you schedule the test and you assign it to them. So there's an option to schedule a particular test at a time also. And at that time, if you assign it, then all of them will get their test at the particular time and they can take the test. So it will not be available, and you can set a due date that they have to all submit it within the next hour or something like that.
Mm.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in Google, Google, what is it? I'm getting confused. Yeah. So you can add, what do you mean when you add file? You want to add a reference file in, you mean in Google form?
Yes, ma'am. In the
Is,
option we able to add the option for student to add file now.
yeah, that is upload file. So that is what we have here. No, for example, this question, what I have here, I'll say, please upload the video project on life cycle or something like that, right? So this is the question that this is the assignment that I'm giving to the students. Now they will upload this once they get this form. Now I have assigned it to you. If you have joined the class, you will get this form, and you will see that the form that you get there you will have an option to um, add a file. So if you want, I can just show you that. 1 minute. So, okay, 1 minute. I'm just going to stop sharing. I'm just going to log in as a different user. So I have logged in as a different user. So now I'm going to go to my classroom. Yes, yeah, it's here. It is. Okay, the class code. Let me go back to this and see what is the class code. I'll just copy the class code here. And I say join. So now I've joined the class as a student, right? Now that I've joined the class as a student, if I go to classwork, yeah. So I have one assignment here where I have not set the due date. So I'm able to access this. As you see, I'm able to edit this. So whatever it is, I can type in the answer. Okay. So I'm able to access the Google Doc that I sent it to student. And now if you also join the class and see, you will see that each of you have got a different copy. Right. On the other hand, if I had set this as for all, then all of us would have got the same copy. Now there's this assignment. So I can just see, I can just open it and I see that this is the assignment that the teacher gave it to me. Now I can move it here. So before when I assigned the assignment, what I did, I hadn't moved it back, right? So that is whatever state you give it, you are going to do it. So then I can put in all these things, whatever it is. So let us say I do this, okay? Then I go back to my Google Classroom. There's a test form that I created. So here I have something. So here I say, please upload the video project on life cycle. So here I can go and add a file. Okay. So does that give clarity?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm sorry. What was the? How did you add which question? Ma'am, can you tell me which particular
So,
question you're
ma'am,
asking about?
Rosa ma'am is asking that on Google Form, how you add the question of adding file for students.
Okay, let me just quickly share my screen and show you.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
So, ma'am, here you have question regarding please upload the video of the project on life cycle, and you have given the option of adding file. So, ma'am was asking about this option. How you give this
Correct,
option?
correct. I got it. I'll just show. Yeah. So there is where when you add a question to a Google form, let me just add a new question just to make it clear. When you add a new question to a Google form, you see there's this drop down. So there are a lot of options here, right? So there's a drop down, there's a multiple choice checkbox, and you see something called file upload. So if you select this option for a file upload, you can allow your students to add a file to the form. You can specify the maximum size, you can specify the number of files. This is all only for your, because let us say you have to be careful, because remember that whatever your students add is going to sit on your drive. So if you ask your students to add videos, for example, and each of them add huge videos, then your drive will get cluttered, right? So if you have a school drive, which like a school Google education account or Google business or Google marketplace account, which has a very huge storage, it is fine. But otherwise, simple images, things like that is fine. Otherwise, you should have a system where you go to your drive and keep taking it off, so that the space is there. Otherwise, if there is no space on your drive, it's going to be uploaded on your drive. Whatever the user submits, whatever the student submits will be uploaded on your drive. It will reside on your drive. So, as some of you may know, that when you use a form, there will be something called responses. So, you can have your responses usually to an Excel sheet, right? So, by default, there will be an Excel sheet. You can assign a specific Excel sheet also. Now, when you give a file upload option, what you will see in that Excel sheet is a link to the location of the file. You will see, for example, the answer is, for example, the first question is, which of the following are nouns? So you give option A, B, C, and you say cat, drink, water, something like that. So you will see the options which are selected. Whereas for the upload your file option, what you will see a link to the particular file uploaded, which is residing on your drive. Any other questions?
No, ma'am. You can move forward.
Yeah. So what I wanted to impress on you is that with Google Classroom, the number of options and the creativity that you can have to give your assignments is very, very high. So you can use any kind of, let us say you want, somebody said that you want to share a PDF or you want to share a video file. You can give links to YouTube videos. For example, you've asked your children to make a model of a rainwater harvesting system. Now, they have to make a model of a rainwater harvesting system. What are you going to ask them to upload? You may ask them to upload a detailed design document as to how they did it, what all they did. That you can put it in a particular format, just like you do in your class. You say every document should have a scope, steps to do it, result, whatever it is, right? That the way you organize it, you can put the same format in your Google Doc and Google Slide, and they can enter it. So it becomes not just an assignment, it becomes a template also for them to do. Then you may want them to add images, They can be done directly to the Google Doc, or you can use Google Files. You may ask them to embed videos, you may ask them to add upload videos, right? So there is no and you can add a lot of reference, you may add a lot of YouTube links and your own content, right? So as a reference for them, and you can also add rubrics. So you can say that if all the particular segments in the file have been addressed, then you get so many points, right? If it is a working model, then you'll get so many points, whatever it is that you want to do. So basically it's a full what do you say, it's a complete open field as far as assignments are concerned. You can create any kind of assignments. Okay. Now I'll just quickly go back there. One minute, let me have this open first. Okay, so now you go to people, right? So these are your grades, and then you go to grades. So I haven't graded anybody here. So if you are giving your grade, it will come right here. So you can enter your grades right here. And then you want to see who has given in your, so here you see something called class drive folder, right? That is where I said that all the files that you create through Google Drive will go and reside. You can access it from Google Classroom, and you can see what, even let's say the children are going to upload anything. The children are going to upload some files. You're going to ask them to upload files. All of them will go and reside there. They'll be where, if that is where you will find them. Okay. So now this has been assigned to 3 people. Sorry. Okay. So now, of course, if let us say, let me go there and turn it in. No, nobody has turned it in, right? So this is all assigned as of now. So once somebody assigns it, it will get turned in. You will see it here as turned in. And once they turn it in, until you return it to them, they will not be able to edit it. For example, let me go here.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We can't share your screen now.
Yeah, I'm just going to share. Give me a minute. Where is the other show? 1 minute. I'm just looking for the other window. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the thing, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to save you assignment here. So I'm just going to turn it in. As a student, I'm going to turn it in, even though I haven't made, yeah. So someone is asking about private comments, right? 1 minute. I'll just come to that. Turn it. Okay. Now that it is turned, now the student has turned it.
Ma'am, we are able to see your notepad screen, not the Google Classroom one.
Oh, okay, okay. I think I must have shared my screen. Let me give. Yeah. So as you can see, this is turned in, of course. Yeah. So I will go here. I can go and see the content which the particular student has turned in. What have they entered? Yeah, so I have entered. This is what I had typed in, right? So this is what I have. I can see here. So based on that, I can give a grading, and you can add private comments to the particular student. So this was incomplete, or this needed more help, or it was excellent, or can you add in the sources of research, or whatever it is that you want to do. So you can check what they have turned in, and you can add private comments. If you feel that it is not good enough, then you can return the submission. So you can return a single submission, and you can return all the submissions. So here there's an option to see the assignments which are turned in, which have been accepted, right? So that is about returning and returning an assignment if required. Once it is returned, it will go back to the student, and they will be able to add whatever they want to add and submit it again. I think in a nutshell, um, the whole point of it is that how you create your assignment, that is something that you have a lot of creativity in. The second part of it, right, that Google Classroom handles beautifully. You can, once you assign an assignment, it goes to each student. Each student will get a separate copy of it. They put in their answers and they return it. Once they return it, right, then you will be able to access their work. And once you see their work, you can either accept it or you can return it back to them. Any questions on that?
No, ma'am, no. But still, ma'am, we are not able to see your screen.
Is that so? You didn't see the last part of it?
No, ma'am. It's completely blank.
Oh, I
Teachers,
am
are you
sorry.
able to see the screen? See the screen?
Oh, okay. I'm really sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am, we can. Now this one we can.
Okay. So as you can see, this is the assignment that I had turned in as a different user, right? So this is my assignment that I have. So if I go back here, so yeah. So as you can see, this one has not come here. The forms will not come here. The forms is something that will come in through your responses. You will have to access through your responses. You will have to check the forms with the responses, which, as you said, all the responses will go to a Google Sheet. And if you have if you have asked a student to add a file, then a link to that file will be shown in that particular sheet. Here, what you will see is all the other assignments. So the number of assignments turned in, the number of assignments assigned but not turned in, you can sort by status, you can give a particular grade. Those are all the things that you can do for the each assignment in the with Google Classroom. Okay, so I would like to stop it here today. If there are any questions, I saw one question. If reports can be created. No, as far as I know, you cannot create as such reports. But I can check on that. I haven't used that anytime functionality, but there may be some option to import onto something and create a report. That is something I'll surely check.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. Teachers, if you have any questions, please do share in our chat. If you have any question regarding the Google form, adding assignment test, and anything else, please ask in the chat. In the meanwhile, I'm going to share some of the links, and so I request you to please share with your dear teachers as well. So if you have any question, please ask and we will take these questions to the ma'am.
A Google Classroom is free for anyone using a Google account. I mean, for it's basically free because anyone can create a Google account, so you have an access to Google Classroom. It's a completely free product. The what is limiting, as I said, is the size of your drive. So when you continuously keep getting assignments, if it is documents and sheets and even images, it's fine. But if you're going to look at the volume of it, so at a point, unless you have a system to back up from your drive, from your Google Drive, and then create space in it, you may find that your drive will get full. You may not, that will be the limiting issue, which of course, if you have something like Google for Education or Google for Marketplace, as I said, then the drive limitation, size limitation will not be there. Otherwise, Google Classroom is completely free. I can just use Google Classroom to create a small class within my family also, in a personal. So I can, it's actually one of the most useful classroom management tools that I have seen, which is, that's what I said, it has all the features that, is required. It doesn't have any frills and fancies to a large extent, which some of the bigger LMS will have. But it has all the features that is required. Yeah. When the responses are when the responses are turned in, they will be saved. If I remember right, they will be saved with a particular folder, with the student name folder in the drive. So if you have, for example, let me just go and see where it is saved in my drive, and I will check and tell you. So as you can see, I'll just share my screen now. Tell me if you can see it though. 1 minute. Yeah. As you can see, if I go and see this is how it is stored in my drive. So it has a name. It has a name of the student along with it.
Great, ma'am. But Monica, ma'am, is not able to find the drive.
No, they will not be randomly saved in the drive. In fact, I will show you. So if you can see my screen, there is something called a class drive folder, right? If you go to your class drive folder, which you can access directly through your drive also, it is very neatly categorized. So for example, this is the assignment, right? This is the assignment that I gave. So all the assignments are there here with the name of the student. So this is the templates that I created for the assignments. So that is untouched. So if you see that this is the template file that I used to create for the assignment, because every time a new student joins, you can give the same assignment, right? So this is something where I have said make a copy for each student. So if you see here, there's a very clear folder structure. There's an assignment and there is a form and then there's a form response. So if you go here and see, right, there is a file responses where of course you have not given any file, updated any file here. So all the updated, all the files that your students upload will go here with the name. And there will be a link in the form, if you go to your Google Sheets where you have the form responses, right? There will be a link for each student, which will take you directly to this particular